Hello, Gareth here, and in this video we're going to paint a sea scene with a small fishing boat. So the first thing we're going to do is determine where our horizon line will be. So I'm thinking roughly in the middle. Then I'm going to have a fishing boat here. So take your time with this. So I don't want it too big. This is going to be a Japanese style fishing boat. So they're quite long and narrow. And they've got a lovely curve to them. And I've got my eraser here, kneading eraser, kneadable. Something like that. And then there's normally a wooden bar that goes across there. There's a thing that sticks up at the front. And here I'm going to leave that because we're going to have, well, I guess I could just indicate some waves going up here. And then I think the back part, I might take this out a bit further. It's getting a bit too big. Ideally, I should use bigger paper. And draw it this size, because it's taking up quite a lot of space. Change that a bit. Yep. And then going to have a man here who's driving. There's going to be a flag here. And maybe there's going to be something above there. Quite a simple fishing boat, this one. And that's all going to be in shade. Okay, so I think that's our fishing boat done. I might make that come out a little bit more. Like that. Get that curve looking a bit better. Yeah. There we go. And then the corner is there. They're kind of square. I mean, like they've got a flat edge at the end, but the side is very curved. I think they do slightly curve in that way, but this bit at the back is flat. Yeah, this bit is very, very flat. But this curves outwards and down. Okay, I think that's looking good. So now let's get on with the painting. So I've got a dirty palette. That's not really very good. So let's just clean it up a little bit. It's not so important when you're using darker colours if you have a dirty palette, but when you begin with your light colours, then it's very important. So get some of my yellow, because these colours soon, they get contaminated. And we're going to have the sun here. I think I might even lower that horizon. So don't do this. Don't begin and then suddenly start the drawing once you've started painting. I'll just make sure. Keep that wet. And then that's where the line was. So I'll have it now a bit lower. I think that looks better. Okay. So let's continue with this quickly before it dries out. So that's yellow, but I don't do too much yellow because when you add blue to it, it goes green. So quickly I add some yellow ochre. And then spread that out. Blend that in. Not very easy. It comes with practice. And I might just spray that to keep it moist. A little bit more yellow ochre. And then I'm going for the red, alizarin crimson. Mix it up. I am doing this fairly pure, which means I'm putting pure paint onto the paper. Rather than mixing it up in the palette. And then over here, this is where it gets a bit exciting. I'm going to do light blue. Here. And I'm going to do that again because I really want this to be a pure light blue over here. And down here too. And then a quick spray to keep it wet. And then I'm going to do what? Oh yeah. Let's just cover that up. That looked a bit strange. So let's do the C. So maybe just use yellow ochre and a bit of this yellow here. I want that white. And it's drying out pretty quickly. So I need to get my skates on. So yellow ochre here. Looks a bit strong. Then my red. I've already got some here, which makes it a little bit easier. Now I'm beginning to have to work against the clock now because the sky is drying. drying very quickly. So I'm going to spray it again in a minute. Okay. So I don't spray directly at the paper, I spray above and then it drops down onto the paper. And I think maybe we're safe there. That's looking pretty good. So next I'm going to move to my pointed oval brush, and then I'm going to do these clouds. Now I'm going to try and make a kind of bluey purple. So I use the light blue, touch of this red, but not too much. And actually, no, maybe that will do a touch more red. That's too much. And a little bit, a real little bit of yellow ochre, and I think we're good to go. Now you don't want it too watery, so we're going to have a big cloud coming down here, like that. And then we're going to have one here that comes right in front of the sun. Looks very dramatic. And then we're going to have a big one coming down here. So as you're brushing, do sense how the paint is behaving. Is it like just splurging out? Because if it is, then either the paint underneath is still too wet, in which case wait a little, or your mix that you're using now is too watery. So you need to wipe your brush on the rag, and then make the mix again, maybe in a new place, and you need to make it stronger, thicker. So don't just continue if it looks wrong, if it's spreading out too much. And if it's looking very dry, you're getting a very dry edge, then you need to spray above the sky fairly quickly. Okay, now this is a bit tricky to do. I need to spray below a bit. But we're going to do the mountains now in the distance, and we're going to have the clouds blending with the mountains in the distance. So here we go. So I've made quite a thick mix. Ooh, got a bit of splatter there. So and as I paint this, I am being very careful to see how the paint's responding. It is spreading a little, but I think not too much. And there I'm going to join the cloud and the coast together like that. So I think that looks pretty beautiful. And try and get a slightly curvy shape on these clouds, like that. And then blend it in a bit. That looks a little bit chunky there. And there. I think that looks quite beautiful. And I think what I'm going to do, which is a little bit tricky, I'm going to wash out my brush, wipe it, get some tissue, and then the bottom of this mountain, I'm going to take out some paint, like that. And here we go again. Like that. And hopefully it's going to run down, and we're going to get a soft grey below. But that is also quite a tricky thing to do. So I'm not super happy with this edge here, but it's good enough. And I think it doesn't seem to be running down too much. So I'm wondering if I need to help it a bit. So watery mix of grey, but I'm using the tissue to get rid of this excess water. And then I'm going to go over that again. That's very careful that I use the tissue there, because if this is very wet, we could get a cauliflower. And then hopefully this is going to run down. Run down, please. Okay, so let's leave it to dry. I'm not sure about that though. So you shouldn't do this, but I'm going to add some thicker paint. When I wiped out the paint underneath, I perhaps did it too well. So this is quite a tricky thing. And then I'm just going to spray it over the top of it. So hopefully we won't get an ugly line, but we might do. We might get a bit of a line. Just spray it one more time and see if we can get a nice finish. And I think here, one more time, I'll have a go at trying to get that white mist at the bottom. In fact, I suppose I could, yeah, I could do this. Okay, let's go a bit crazy then. Let's do this, and this will hide that mark. So this is where you use failure and turn it into success. So what we can do is this misty, cloudy bottom that comes right up sometimes like that. Even if this goes wrong, it's worth doing because of what we can learn. It will make us better at painting. Okay, I'm going to have that come right up there like that, into there. So I didn't think I'd be doing this. And I think that's it. So I'm not sure what I think about this yet, but I like the boldness. Okay, let's leave it to dry.